You have tried everything that you could to save your marriage. I mean, everything. You've tried talking. You tried reasoning. You tried therapy. You tried space. You tried it all. And nothing that you could do could save your marriage. Why couldn't you save your marriage when you did everything that was possible? It comes down to love. He didn't love you. And why wouldn't your husband love you the way that he did when you got married? The Bible gives us the framework that we need to have for husbands to love their wives properly. In the book of Ephesians, in chapter 5, verse 28, in the same way, this is Paul giving the direction about marriage. Husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. See, when he leaves his mother and father and he's united with his wife, the Bible mentions that they become one flesh. That's what they are supposed to become. That is the way that God structured marriage for his purpose. But husbands are not living this way in their marriages. They are loving themselves and they are leaving their wives behind. Therefore, they are not becoming one flesh as God created. And Paul goes on to mention in this verse, he who loves his wife loves himself. And if a man doesn't love his wife properly, then he is not loving himself. See, that man gave up his singularity in his life when he got married. See, it's much different. And this is how God is demonstrating in this verse when he talks about man and woman coming together. It's referenced in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And what God has joined together, let no one separate. That one flesh. And husbands are into themselves. They may be in another relationship with a woman. They are wrapped up in their hobbies. They're doing things where they're not demonstrating that they love their wives as their own bodies, loving themselves properly. In the book of 1 Peter, in chapter 3, verse 7, husbands in the same way, this is Peter writing in a similar fashion as Paul from Ephesians. Be considerate as you live, as that husband is living with his wife, with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you in the gracious gift of life. What is that heir? That is everlasting life. In the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder you from your prayers. Marriage is supposed to glorify God through his son Jesus. A marriage is supposed to be the light in this world. How God created this one flesh between two people. How God created woman from man for them to be together so that man wouldn't be alone. As God saw it wasn't good for man to be alone. So woman was created to be with him. And the man is supposed to leave his mother and father and be united with his wife. You see that earthly separation with the mother and the father, then the husband joining the wife, and they become one. You see how God is on purpose putting this relationship in this fashion. Husbands must come back to the Lord. They must understand this purpose. And when a man is not loving his wife and he's not keeping his marriage together, and that wife is fighting for that marriage, he is not loving himself. He is not displaying what God is wanting that man to do. And therefore, the marriage will erode considerably. And many will end in some form of a separation or a permanent divorce from one another. And the pain and the suffering that comes through a divorce or a separation. It is time to get your marriage on track and walk with the Lord in the proper direction for the everlasting life that is only found in Jesus Christ.